Today we're talking all about discovery calls. What are they? How do you conduct them? And how can you make the most of them? Let's jump into it. All right, so what is a discovery call? This is going to be either a phone call or a video call via Zoom or Google Meet with a potential client that has expressed interest in your services. Now, the purpose of this call is not just to pitch your services to this potential client, but it's really to listen and learn more about their needs and see if your services can be of help to them. In addition to that, you also want to make a determination if this client seems like they would be a good fit for you. So the first thing that you want to do is have a pre-qualification form, because you definitely don't want to fill up your calendar with, a whole bunch of these discovery calls with people that just don't fit your target audience. So for example, if you are a grant writer and you only want to work with environmental organizations, then you definitely don't want to fill up your calendar with these discovery calls with, organizations that work in STEM or perhaps a for-profit business, right? You want to set multiple qualifiers on your inquiry form or your questionnaire in order to weed out unqualified prospects. So for example, at the moment, I desire to only offer my grant services to nonprofit organizations. So on my qualification form, I make sure I ask the question, are you a 501c3 nonprofit? Or, any types of questions relating to the types of clients that I want to work with. And if they check no, that they're not a nonprofit organization, we just don't have that call. Or maybe if they're a brand spanking new nonprofit, there's, I won't be able to work with them in terms of grants because they're just not going to be a good fit. So I don't want to spend valuable time, waste my time and their time on this call when they're just not going to be a good fit. So you really want to think about who you want to work with, what qualifications the client needs to have in order to work with you, and then build an inquiry form or questionnaire around that so that your valuable time and theirs is protected. So the next tip would be to have an automated system for your discovery call process. And this just makes everything so much easier in terms of scheduling the call. You simply, can have the system send them a link to your calendar. It also can help send reminder emails as well as a video link if you are using video, all in one, so you don't have to manually send reminders, send links, anything like that. And it really just presents a very professional appearance and just makes the process so smooth and seamless. Now for this, I use HoneyBook, but there are many other platforms and services out there that can help you with this step. Now, the next step would be to prep for the discovery call, and you really don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this step. Remember that these are free calls, so you don't need to be doing a deep dive into this potential client's history and background at this point. But you do need to know who you're talking to, their position in the organization, perhaps, what services they are interested in and why they reached out to you, their mission, things like that. Now, ideally, you would have captured a lot of this information already from your inquiry form or your questionnaire, but it's always a good idea to, snoop around their website, their LinkedIn, their social media pages, just to gather a little bit more information. Now, quick tip, if at all possible, it's always best to stay away from hopping on these discovery calls with the gatekeepers, so to speak. Now, these are people at organizations who have the ability to say no to you, but don't possess the power to say yes to signing on with you and moving forward with you. Again, if at all possible, try to hop on these calls with the decision makers of the organization. Now, once they are on the call, you don't want to turn this into 1,000 questions. You do want to ask enough questions and the right questions to get the information that you need, but let them do most of the talking. That does not mean that they control and dominate the conversation. You control the conversation, but let them do most of the talking. And that's because your job here is really to listen and listen intently. So you're going to want to know more about their organization, their funding situation, their current needs. Have they worked with a grant writer in the past? How did that go? Whatever questions you need to ask in your business, because you really need them talking, because you're trying to make a determination if your services can actually help them and if they are going to be a good fit for you. You also don't want to leave the conversation without talking about their budget for your services. Now, even if you put your pricing on your website or your questionnaire or something, I would still bring this up. You never want to assume that, this potential client read through your website or even read everything on the questionnaire. Trust me on this. I have had people on discovery calls, where they have a bit of sticker shock about the price, even though they had to check off on the questionnaire that they were okay with the price. So you definitely want to bring that up and make sure that, you both are aligned, at least in terms of pricing, before moving forward. You want to talk about the value and transformation that your services will bring their organization. Talk about how your services will help solve their problem or their pain point. I mean, you definitely want to share that with them. You don't want to assume that they'll be able to immediately make that connection. Now, you want to keep these calls fairly brief. I try to keep my discovery calls to around 15 minutes or so. It doesn't always shake out that way, but that's my goal. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Because again, you're not getting paid for these calls, so you want to be very mindful of your time. The other thing I would say is to try to avoid any coaching or giving advice on these calls. Again, these calls are just a determined fit. And there are some people out there that will jump from discovery call to discovery call, trying to get as much free coaching and strategy as they can with no real intention of ever seriously working with anyone. So you don't want to play that game. This is not a coaching call. This is not a strategy call, purely to determine fit. Now, at the end of your call, if you're really feeling this client, you want to work with them, you want their business, you feel like your services can be transformative for them, thank them for their time, ask if you can send them a proposal, and explain what next steps look like when working with you. So I hope this was helpful in how to run a discovery call, and I want to hear from you. What tips do you have for better or more productive discovery calls? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the Learn Grant Writing channel for more grant writing content, and to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new videos drop. So until next time, take care.